All right. Thank you guys for joining us on this Sunday night. I'm so excited to see all of you here. I'm excited to hear your feedback, and I'm hoping that we can share some personal insights that will help you throughout this process. My name is Kyona Best. I am a licensed realtor in Georgia as well as New Jersey. I relocated to Georgia about a year ago, so I'm pretty new to this state. But in this short year, I have met some dynamic people who have helped me tremendously, guided me throughout this process, and I'm happy to call them my team. So I want to introduce you to all of our hosts, and we're going to get started with the lovely Nikisha Hopkins. Hi, Nikisha.
Hello, everybody. So I am Nikisha Hopkins, and I am a resident here in Georgia, but I relocated from Charlotte, North Carolina. So I've been here now since 2010. So it's been some time. I have definitely become acclimated with my general area. And of course, I've been licensed for 2 years here in Georgia. I've been in the mortgage kind of real estate industry since '97. So I do have decent knowledge of, kind of what happens from beginning to end with some of my past experience. But yeah, so we came to Georgia. My husband was transferred. He's a banker as well. So we came here and we landed in Gwinnett County. And we picked Gwinnett County because at the time we had school-age children. And so we had heard so much about the area being in Georgia, the different nuances about the school systems. And so we loved the suburban feel, not so city. It's still huge. Coming from Charlotte, North Carolina to Lawrenceville, Georgia, was still a major change because we were still not too far from the city, had a lot of stuff going on, which is what made us love Georgia. So that's the spiel about me.
All right, thank you, Nikisha. Next, we have Brenda. Brenda, can you chime in?
Good evening, everybody. Brenda Petker with the Nolan Agency. I am an insurance broker. I've been an insurance broker for about 4 years now. I write with over 20 A+ rated carriers like Liberty Mutual. I write with Nationwide, Allstate, Travelers, 20 carriers. So the list goes on and on. I am in Gwinnett County by way of Houston, Texas. I have lived in Georgia for about 20 years now, but I have moved back to Texas a couple of times, and I always make my way back to Georgia. I just love this area. Right now I live in Barrow County, but I have lived the last 15 years in Gwinnett County. So I love that area, and I plan to stay here forever. This is it. I've moved back home like twice, and I've just decided that this is going to be Georgia's my home, and I'm staying.
Awesome. Thank you, Brenda. And last but not least, we have Youlonda Wilkinson. Youlonda, can you jump on?
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I am Youlonda Wilkinson, and I am a loan officer with Southeast Mortgage, and I am an original Georgia Peach. I am born and raised in Georgia. I grew up in a little town in South Georgia. I went to college in Savannah. I have a healthcare background, but about 4 years ago, I got into real estate, and then I later got my loan origination license, and I've been doing that for about 2 years. And my whole family lives in Georgia. I live now in Gwinnett County because I do have school-age kids, and so we chose Gwinnett County because of the schools. But I love Georgia. I don't know anywhere else in the world that I would go live. The Atlanta area, for me, coming from South Georgia, has everything. It has the city life, it has the rural life, it has lots of different kind of people. So I'm all for Georgia.
Yay.
I think we all are.
That's why we're on this webinar.
Yeah.
So the reason why we're doing this today is because we get a lot of questions, especially us that are coming from different areas, about the process of relocating. How do you pick the right area? How do you know where to go? It's such a drastic difference, especially if you're coming from up north, like I'm coming from New Jersey, right? So New Jersey is drastically different from Georgia, even though we do have some similarities. But the perception of this state is very different than what it actually is. So I thought it was important that we all get together and talk about if you are thinking or considering relocating to Georgia, what are some of the things that you can do, some of the mistakes that you can avoid, and what's the best options for you in terms of starting now to do your research? Like, what research am I going to be doing? The benefits of relocating to Georgia. So I have a couple of things here, and I think that my co-host will attest to the low cost of living. So if you are born and raised in Georgia, you might not feel this way. I see Youlonda looking like, I don't
No, it's true. I mean, it just depends. Like, I feel like the closer, like Atlanta is like the heart of the state.
Mhm.
The closer to Atlanta, the more cost of living. But if you are, willing to go out a little bit, it can be very, very, very affordable. Like, I just went home this weekend and I'm just like, man, sometimes I want to go back to the South, but I'm staying where I am.
Yeah.
So,
And we recently moved to Barrow County, so I am counting the days to get back into Gwinnett or somewhere closer to the city, because even though I love this area, but it's just, there's so much more to do. I mean, what's important to me is closer to the city
okay.
in terms of entertainment, shopping centers, restaurants. I want to be in the thick of it.
So
it's
Brenda,
definitely important to
gonna
consider that.
later on, I want you to give us some perspective on where Barrow County is, but not yet. Thriving job market. So a lot of major corporations are moving to Georgia or already here. So when people think about, well, what am I going to do for a living? Whatever you want, whatever you want. So you have major tech companies, you have movie and film, you have pharmaceutical companies that are all here. So if you are already in that world, I'm guaranteeing that there's some space for you to relocate to Georgia if that's the option for you. The climate. So again, it depends on where you're coming from. Brenda is coming from Texas, so her climate is different.
Yeah. I was actually just talking to my friend yesterday that moved from Houston as well. And he moved back and we accidentally we moved back. I think it was August when we moved back. And as soon as I drove into Texas and I felt that 110-degree heat, I was like, what am I doing? I was like, no, you already made up your mind. So we lasted about 1.5 years this last time, but that heat is serious. I think the more out west, and it's even getting hotter and hotter in places like Arizona, Texas. It's just, the heat is ridiculous. Vegas is, I have a lot of family in Las Vegas, and they are right now experiencing 124 degrees. So I can't imagine. Can you imagine that? No, I mean.
Nikisha's coming from North Carolina. Climate is pretty similar, I'm assuming, right?
Very much so.
Yeah. And coming from New Jersey is very different. So we have full-on winters, snowstorms, 12 inches of snow, freezing below, 10 degrees sometimes. And then sometimes we have really hot days in the summer. So it varies, but this is my first full year in Georgia. So I have enjoyed very much so not having to pull out big coats, because I have big coats, like below the knee puff jackets, because it's cold. I didn't have to pull that out at all. So it was nice. It was really nice. So climate is something to consider. Natural beauty. Youlonda, I want you to talk a little bit about this, because I've only seen a glimpse of this. And I can't wait to see more, but just talk a little bit about the beauty of Georgia.
So I'm gonna be honest, I was an adult before I knew that Georgia had waterfalls. Georgia has a coastline. You have marshland, you have mountains in Georgia, you have waterfalls in Georgia. anything that you can want is in Georgia. As a little girl, like I just knew the beach, and I love the beach. Of course, if you go more centralized, you miss that, but then you get into the mountains and the hills and the red clay, and it was like, even though I'm from Georgia, it was eye-opening to know that this state has so many beautiful places. Like even like in the wintertime, if you go up into the Blue Ridge, like the icicles that you see and going up the mountain, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. The green in the summertime, and the four seasons, like the color, the changing of the leaves, like those little things just are so pretty to me. I love Georgia.
Georgia falls are the best. I mean, I love just driving through the North Georgia mountains during the fall when when seeing the leaves, and it's just beautiful.
It's
I've
beautiful.
never seen anything like it
And
anywhere
then
else.
pop from that in the springtime when everything starts to bloom, it's just as pretty.
Right. And last but not least, the rich culture. So I will say, just from, again, my year experience of being here, that I have experienced people from all over the world. And I think it's pretty amazing that I can have a conversation with someone, 5 people in the room, and 4 of us are all from, we're from Texas, we're from California, from Arizona, you're from North Carolina, you're from Michigan, and everybody has a different perspective on life, and it's pretty cool. And coming again from New Jersey, I did not realize that I would experience that here.
Yep.
You ladies can attest.
I would agree.
Yeah.
This is where I came to get cultured, if you will. It's you meet people from every country in South America, every state. I mean, just everywhere, and they all have their own little neighborhoods in Atlanta. It's nice to see.
Awesome.
I enjoy it.
So I pulled from the census that 87,000 new residents moved to Georgia in 2022, which sounds absolutely crazy. Some cities or states don't even have 80,000 people who live there. So to see that many people move to one state is absolutely crazy. So we want to dive a little bit in because of perceptions of what Georgia is. So when you say you moved to Georgia, I don't know about you guys, but when I said I moved to Georgia, everybody said, "Oh, you live in Atlanta?" And I said, "No, I don't live in Atlanta. I live in Georgia. I live north of Atlanta, but I don't live in." Well, how close are you to Atlanta? That's the 2 questions I get. Do you live in Atlanta, and how close are you to Atlanta? So what I learned real fast is that I live in OTP, which is the outer perimeter of Atlanta. And I had to learn the difference because I'm like, what are they talking about? I just know I live in Gwinnett County. So you guys, you want to dive into this a little bit. Are you down with OTP, or are you in ITP?
How much you want to spend is the question.
I know. It's like I don't have a choice at the moment. I want to be ITP.
So what is ITP versus OTP? Anybody want to jump in on that?
Outside the perimeter, inner perimeter, I would just say that if you live within the perimeter, you're closer to shopping centers, restaurants. I mean, but just more entertainment and nightlife, which I am kind of leaning toward lately. I just you don't have the drive from to City Winery that you went to last night. I mean, for me, the drive to City Winery right now is 40 minutes, and I love Ponce City Market. I just can't get out there as often as I would like because of the commute or how long it takes me to get out there. And traffic is another topic of conversation, but it's a lot to get to see stuck in traffic.
So if you live in ITP, what areas are you looking for? So if someone says, I need to be in Atlanta, right? I need to be there. I need to be in the mix of everything that's happening. What would you say to a person that gives you that perspective? I work near Atlanta. I need to be in Atlanta, and they're going to be inside of the perimeter. So Youlonda, you've been here your whole life.